our teen brains. So I'm a rising junior who's really passionate about neuroscience as well. And before I start, I want to ask a couple questions here, especially to the parents. So how many of you here have heard people say that teenagers tend to be risky or engage in risky behavior, or tend to be reckless, have mood swings, and are often easily influenced and can make bad decisions? There's an element of truth of all this, but it comes down to our brains. So our brains, they're plastic organs. That does not mean they're made of plastic. What it does mean, though, is that when you've seen plastic materials, right, you can see how easily you can bend them, they're flexible, you can make them change shape. Our brain is like that. And it may sound confusing, but in a way, it does make sense, right? For example, as we go through life, we have new memories, new experiences, new emotions, right? And how are they stored in our brain? If our brain wasn't able to change, it wasn't able to evolve in a way, then we wouldn't be able to store these new memories. But because our brain is plastic, it's always changing, it's malleable, these new memories are able to be stored. Now, have you guys ever heard or noticed that children and teenagers tend to learn more and more faster than adults do? Or that it's easier for them to learn? And again, this comes back to the plasticity issue, that children and adolescents, that's when their brain is more plastic at these younger ages, which is why we're able to learn languages, more foreign languages, learn faster. And adolescence especially is a very formative years of someone's life, right? So what happens is that there's this part of the brain called the prefrontal cortex, right here in the front of the brain, the frontal cortex, right, prefrontal. And what it's involved in is in behaviors like basically keeping track of emotion, making sure you make good decisions, keeping a filter on our mouths, all of that for everyone. But for us teenagers, that part is especially developing. It's growing, and in a way you can say it is unstable because it's always changing. And so when it's changing, it's unstable, you can say it can inhibit teenagers from making right decisions, as some of you may very well be comfortable with or know about. So let's give two case studies, right? The first one is that a person, they're there with their friends, there's a teenager, and they're getting peer pressure to do something they know is not right. And they may not be aware of their teenage brain, what's causing them, and they want to fit in. Us teenagers, I know, me, myself, I want to fit in with everyone. And because of that, might give in to peer pressure. And this could make them make a decision that could haunt them for their life, right? The second case study is that an individual, they may be a victim of bullying and harassment. And over a long period of time, all this emotional stress, it'll come out, it'll lead to an emotional upheaval, and they may not be able to control their emotions as well, and this could often lead them to indulge in risky behaviors. So, as you can see here, many of the conditions of teenagers that we talked about before are caused not by their own will, not because they're causing it to happen, but by the natural growth and development of the brain. So in a way then, it's not fair to blame us as teenagers as being risky and dumb, right? But it's important instead to educate teenagers on the teenage brain so they know the dangers when they see it. So let's go back to the two case studies I gave, right? So say the person's facing peer pressure, but they know that their brain wants them, it's basically its brain's fault, they're telling them, you might want to give in, you'll fit in better. But if they know this, they'll be prepared to say, oh, my brain's giving me the wrong advice, maybe I should not listen to the peer pressure, maybe I shouldn't give in, I should keep strong, right? Another case, when you see a friend who's being victim to bullying or harassment, you can tell that they're really sad, you want to talk to them, you can be careful with them, talk comfortably with them, make them reveal how they're feeling, right? Because that always makes someone feel better. And you as yourself, for example, if you're feeling sad, now that you know that it's nothing, it might not necessarily be your fault what you're feeling, it's nothing to be embarrassed about, but instead it's just natural changes that your brain's going through, you'll be more comfortable talking to a counselor, seeking help and advice, and that always makes someone feel better. So it's very important that teenagers know about the changes that their brain is going through, since being conscious about these changes will keep them prepared for all the adverse side effects that are going to happen in their teenage years. And this is the goal of the Teen Brains Initiative. We want to spread knowledge and awareness of the teenage brain to high schoolers all throughout the country. I'll be going to give presentations targeted especially towards parents and high schoolers in the hope that I'll be able to spread awareness of the teenage brain to more and more people so that they will check on themselves, especially teenagers, when they're making questionable decisions. I'll keep basically all the dates of my talks and a lot of this information as well on my website. And I would love to answer any questions anyone has here as well, or if you want to email me at ourteenbrains@gmail.com. I'm happy to answer any questions about this presentation or Teen Brains in general. So thank you for listening, and thank you once again.